So in the last video I explained to you briefly how a compressor, the Ableton compressor, which is Swiss Army knives of compressors, works, and basic how the threshold works, attack and delay, and how it's basically, you'll be using it on a lot of your tracks, a lot of your mixes, and you're going to be using it every day. So we're going to start with the Softube FET compressor. See, it has variable, it's just not fixed rate ratios, right? So you can still have 1-to-1, and you have the input volume as a voltage meter, and but there's no gain reduction going on. You have your input at 0, your output at 0. Nothing's happening. There's you notice that there's no parameters of attack and release. So what I want to do is I want to have like a medium kind of release. There's no threshold. You'll notice it's just a basic. I believe it's called. It just has a mode, and what it does is the threshold is always the same. Well, input. If you, it's variable. So what we'll do, I'll just bring it up. You'll see the needle on the gain reduction. It has a very slow release. What I want to do is I want to move that, make that release go fast. And that really kind of cleans up the dynamics. What I want to do maybe is I want to just raise the output. So what it did is it brought out the natural reverb of the loop, and kind of left everything the same, really. This would be good for vocals and the like. You could have a super fast attack. A very high ratio, which is infinite. We can bring up the input. And what we can do is we can do something called New York compression, or parallel compression, which is mixing. This is what they used to do: mixing the side chain, the compressed, not the side chain, the compressed signal with the signal that's unaltered. So we'll do that 50%, I assume. So we'll go completely dry. What we're doing is we're clipping because the input. And it's a good way to get the transients of the original signal mixed with the soundy, nicer kind of compressed signal. And this is a good thing to do it. This has a variable release, so the smaller gain reduction releases quicker, but the smaller gain reduction releases slower. It has a slower release, but if it reduces a lot of gain, then it has a faster release. So it's variable. So it has like that kind of mode. So enough of that. Close that. This is made by the same guys, but with collaboration of Native Instruments. Now this has basically the same deal. You can see the gain reduction. You can move the threshold up. You have a slow kind of release. And it's good for leveling. See, it keeps it the same loudness. I use that term loosely, but it reduces a lot of. It's basically emulating tube compressors. It's a very smooth kind of compressor, and you'll run into that sort of thing. This is the Swiss Army knife waves kind of compressor. It's basically jack of all trades. It's very digital in its sound. It sounds good on basically everything. So I'll move the threshold down. You can move it down here. And I want to pump the ratio. Oh, I might want to turn it on. Sorry. You can see the reduction going on here. What this does is it gives you a lot more headroom in the mix. We give a faster or a slower attack, sorry. Even more. You can really mold the sound. And so you can still keep the kick, but you can get rid of a lot of the other stuff that may or may not matter. I wouldn't use this on kicks. I was just using it as an example. You can use it on anything. Yeah, that's one way to do it. Now here's where we get into the fun stuff. This is based on the LA2A. It's a compressor from the 60s, and there's digital compressors. You can see it here. There's digital compressors, and then there's hardware compressors, which are digital compressors. But this kind of it compresses, but it also adds color. And it adds color. I believe this was point to point, so there's no circuit, or there's no circuit board, and it's point to point, so it's like basically, I don't know. If I were to do it, it'd just be like a tube duct taped to the side with a wire hanging out of it. And the thing about these is how it sounds different is just in the era that the capacitors were made and the tubes where they came from, be the Russian or Chinese or all that fun stuff. What it does is it compresses, but it adds color, and it's really sought after in modern recordings to make it sound less, make it sound less synthetic. Reduce the peak. It has a fixed rate attack. You can see the needle dance. We'll try this on vocals. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah. This is used on guitars or other acoustic instruments. Voices sound voices sound good as well. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah. You can reduce the volume going into it, or you can raise it. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah. You can have no peak reduction, or you can just have a lot of it. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah. Gives it some nice air that I really enjoy. Where are we? Here we are. The LA2A, that's one. When you think of Aerosmith, think of this. It's it's a compressor that's a little weird, but it has nice gain reduction. It's good for guitars and vocals. We'll give it a listen.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say.
It has some nice air to it. This has attack and release, so I'd have a faster release for.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 Somebody.
You can also change the ratio. They're fixed.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Still sounds the same, but the dynamics are tamed, and it sounds like, well, it sounds like the songs from that era, which is pretty good. It's, you know, compare this to Ableton's compressor, it just adds color, as they would say. H-Comp is a hybrid of digital and analog. You'll notice the little spectrum down here. What you can do is you can turn on the different modes of the analog-ish character of this. Now what it is it adds a noise floor, which is static hum. Be this in the box, there shouldn't be any static hum between plugins and instruments, but there is in this to kind of recreate that feel, and adds a bit of harmonics to it. And yeah, it's just an attempt to make to model compressors, to do it in the right way, with all of its little imperfections. You can obviously turn them off in this and the SSL comp, and I don't think you can do it in the Fairchild, but yeah, we'll leave it on just for fun. So what we're gonna do, yeah, this one, it has variable ratio, variable threshold. It's variable release, pretty fast attack, pretty fast release. You can also sync the release to your host or whatever BPM you want, so you can have it the release of a 1/16 of a bar. Sometimes I like to go a quarter to keep it kind of musical, to use a compressor as like another musical instrument. It's just another thing you can do. It's also, you can split it. You can mix the wet and dry. You can also, this is really good. The punch, it's not really a punch, but it's before, well, when the compressor lowers the threshold, what it'll do is before it does it, it will upwards compress, so it'll kind of raise the volume. You can have more of a punch, you have more of transients at the beginning, and it's a neat way to reduce, to trim the fat of your audio, but then add punch to kind of preserve the transients of what's important. And I think that's a really good feature. They're geniuses. We'll get rid of that. This is one that I'm a fan of. It's the based off the Fairchild. As you can see, it has quite a bit of hum. You can turn it off, so yeah. or it has 60 hertz, 50 hertz. I believe that is based on where you are in the world. Like there's different electrical systems in the North America and in the UK and all that fun stuff. So we'll just leave it at 60. This one sounds good on everything you basically put through it. So we'll just listen to it.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah.
When you think of Pink Floyd, think of this.
Somebody say yeah.
The original, one of the original ones is from the 60s. The Beatles used it a lot. One of the original ones just sold on eBay for $60,000. This thing takes 15 hours to fully turn on and heat up, and it sounds different from day to day. And yeah, basically, you have it's basically two of them, left and right. There's like 4 tubes on each section. And what you can do, you have them linked, or you can have them separate, so your left and right are compressed separately, which is also good. Usually, I'd leave them linked, just to solve, well, in case like something happens more so on the right side, you'll get some sort of weird phasing. I get that. Maybe it's just me, but I like them combined together, and having the same gain reduction and compression on both left and right.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah.
It's more creamy than any other compressor if you listen to it.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah.
Preferably, you'd want the real thing. I suggest you go and buy the real thing. No, I'm just joking. So, this is another compressor, but what it does is it only compresses a certain part of the bandwidth, and it does it in an acoustic way. So what we'll do is we'll just play a bass. Sounds okay, but what this does is it compresses. It's instantaneous. It's magical. It compresses a single bandwidth. So. It just adds harmonics. I'm not sure how it does it, but this is another compressor that uses for bass lines. You can also select which area of the frequency. So you can find where the heart of the bass is and compress it and make it louder, make it pretty. The SSL. This is one I use on everything. Well, almost everything. Well, basically everything. It was from a compressor from the 80s. No, it was from the bus compressor. You'd send well, buses through it, and it would kind of glue everything together. And a lot of things are based off it. It also has analog hum that you can turn on and off, which is nice, and you can turn on and off. This has fixed ratios and fixed attack, and it's quite nice. I'm just going to play it. So you see the clap is loud. Well, it's more dynamic than the rest, so it's reducing the clap. Or turn the ratio up. So that you're losing it there, but you want the needle to dance with your track. So you notice what I did there is it went from just just reducing the gain of the clap. I want it to release just in time to reduce the gain of the percussion-y thing that's in there. I just think it sounds great. And what that does, it's reducing the volume by 4 decibels, but you do that across the board, you do that on your vocals, and it really gives you headroom. And then you do this on the master. You can use as many of these you want. You can use different compressors and different configurations to get what you want. Some add color, some are digital and just reduce it cleanly. Some are nonlinear, some are weird, some are hybrids of digital and analog, and it really puts it together for your final mix. You want to have peaks. The goal in my theory is the goal of the compressor on all your channels is to make sure that the maximizer on your master bus isn't working too hard and it's not reducing too many clips, or not reducing too many peaks. So you want the compressor in each channels to reduce the peaks to get everything sitting well together, and you'll level it on the master bus again, and then you'll maximize. And that's how you get good sounding tracks that just sound like it's just one sound. And there's 1,000,001 different compressors out there, and you should try them all. Sounds fantastic. I like it. I get a hard on for the SSL. I want a real one. They come in a rack mount. It's pretty cool. The V-Comp. This is something from the 70s. It adds dirt. It has a separate kind of color. Here you go. I'll play it on vocals.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. 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 Somebody say yeah, yeah.
The release is set to auto. That's for program.
Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody say yeah.
You see the reduction going on.
Somebody say yeah, yeah.
I was actually using the wrong release. The release is down here. This is for the limiter. The limiter is not on, but you can just crank this up. They'd use that for drums and other special things. You can see this has a lot of noise floor, just because it's more of a dirty kind of compressor. And yeah, that's basically it. We're gonna get into practical use. I just wanted to bring you through all of the compressors for fun, and just explain to you how it works. So on to the next area.